When installing metal signs near energized conductors, it's crucial to maintain adequate horizontal clearances as specified by the National Electrical Safety Code, or NESC, to ensure safety and prevent electrical hazards. This information pertains to conductors operating at or below 15,000 volts. The required clearance depends on the size of the sign. For signs that are less than 16 square feet, which is approximately 1.5 square meters, the minimum clearance from any surface must be 12 inches, or 305 millimeters. If the sign's size falls between 16 and 40 square feet, equivalent to 1.5 to 4.8 square meters, the required clearance increases to 18 inches, or 457 millimeters. For larger signs ranging from 40 to 64 square feet, which translates to 4.8 to 19.2 square meters, a clearance of 24 inches, or 610 millimeters, is necessary. Finally, for signs exceeding 64 square feet, or 19.2 square meters, the minimum clearance distance is 30 inches, or 762 millimeters. These clearances are measured from the edge of the sign to the nearest surface of the energized conductor or its supporting structure. It is important to note that the aforementioned clearances specifically apply to uninsulated conductors. If the conductors are insulated, the code permits a reduction in the clearance distance by an amount equivalent to the thickness of the insulation material. However, it is imperative to consult the latest edition of the NESC to confirm the specific requirements and ensure compliance. In situations where the sign is not located on the same pole or structure as the conductors, the sign must adhere to the appropriate clearances from the conductors themselves. The NESC provides detailed guidelines and tables specifying these clearances based on voltage levels and other relevant factors. To summarize, firstly, for signs less than 16 square feet, maintain a 12-inch clearance. Secondly, for signs between 16 and 40 square feet, maintain an 18-inch clearance. Thirdly, for signs between 40 and 64 square feet, maintain a 24-inch clearance. Fourthly, for signs larger than 64 square feet, maintain a 30-inch clearance. Remember that these are minimum requirements, and consulting the latest NESC edition is essential for ensuring code compliance and safety. It is important to emphasize that electrical work should only be performed by qualified and trained individuals who possess the necessary knowledge and experience to handle high-voltage systems safely. Unauthorized or unqualified personnel should never attempt to work on or near energized electrical equipment. Electrical safety is of paramount importance, and adhering to established codes and practices is crucial for preventing accidents and ensuring the well-being of individuals and the integrity of electrical systems. Always verify that the sign structure is properly grounded to provide a safe path for fault currents in the event of an electrical fault. Grounding helps to minimize the risk of electric shock and equipment damage. Additionally, consider the environmental conditions in the area where the sign is to be installed. Factors such as wind, ice, and temperature variations can affect the structural integrity of the sign and its supports. Ensure that the sign is designed and installed to withstand these environmental loads. Furthermore, pay attention to the accessibility of the sign for maintenance and repairs. Provide adequate clearance around the sign to allow workers to safely access it for inspection and servicing. This is especially important for signs located in hard-to-reach areas. In addition to the horizontal clearances, the NESC also specifies vertical clearances for signs near overhead conductors. These vertical clearances are designed to prevent accidental contact between the sign and the conductors. Ensure that the sign is installed at a sufficient height to meet these vertical clearance requirements. When working near high-voltage conductors, always use appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, such as insulated gloves, safety glasses, and flame-resistant clothing. PPE helps to protect workers from electrical hazards and minimize the risk of injury. Regularly inspect the sign and its supports for any signs of damage or deterioration. Address any issues promptly to prevent potential safety hazards. This includes checking for corrosion, loose connections, and structural weaknesses. Consider using non-conductive materials for the sign's frame and supports to further enhance safety. Non-conductive materials help to isolate the sign from energized conductors and reduce the risk of electrical shock. If the sign is illuminated, ensure that the lighting system is properly grounded and wired according to electrical codes. Use weatherproof fixtures and wiring to protect the electrical components from moisture and corrosion. Also, ensure that the sign's electrical system has appropriate overcurrent protection, such as fuses or circuit breakers, to protect against short circuits and overloads. This helps to prevent electrical fires and equipment damage. If the sign is located near trees or other vegetation, ensure that the vegetation is trimmed to maintain adequate clearance from the sign and the conductors. This helps to prevent accidental contact between the vegetation and the energized equipment. When planning the installation of a sign near high-voltage conductors, it is advisable to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor who is familiar with the NESC requirements and local electrical codes. They can provide valuable guidance and ensure that the installation is done safely and in compliance with all applicable regulations. Remember that the information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional engineering advice. Always consult with qualified professionals and refer to the latest edition of the NESC for specific requirements and recommendations. The NESC is a comprehensive standard that covers a wide range of electrical safety topics, including clearances, grounding, wiring methods, and equipment installation. Familiarizing yourself with the NESC is essential for anyone involved in the design, installation, or maintenance of electrical systems. In conclusion, maintaining adequate horizontal clearances for metal signs near high-voltage conductors is crucial for ensuring safety and preventing electrical hazards. Adhering to the NESC requirements and consulting with qualified professionals are essential steps in the process. Always prioritize safety and follow established codes and practices when working with electrical equipment. Remember to always de-energize the circuit if possible before working near electrical components. Lockout and tagout procedures should be implemented to ensure that the circuit remains de-energized while work is being performed. Confirm that the circuit is de-energized using appropriate testing equipment before touching any electrical components. Never assume that a circuit is de-energized without proper verification. When working near energized conductors, maintain a safe working distance to prevent accidental contact. Use insulated tools and equipment to further minimize the risk of electrical shock. Be aware of your surroundings and avoid distractions while working near electrical equipment. Pay attention to any potential hazards and take appropriate precautions. If you are unsure about any aspect of the electrical work, seek guidance from a qualified supervisor or electrical engineer. Never attempt to perform tasks that are beyond your level of expertise or training. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is essential to prioritize safety at all times. By following these safety guidelines and adhering to the NESC requirements, you can help to prevent accidents and ensure the well-being of yourself and others. Keep in mind that the information presented here is for informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional engineering advice. Always consult with qualified professionals and refer to the latest edition of the NESC for specific requirements and recommendations. The NESC is a dynamic standard that is updated periodically to reflect changes in technology and industry best practices. Staying up to date with the latest edition of the NESC is essential for ensuring compliance and maintaining a safe working environment. Therefore, always refer to the latest edition of the NESC for the most up-to-date requirements and consult with qualified professionals for specific guidance on your project. When dealing with electrical systems, it is crucial to prioritize safety and adhere to established codes and practices. By doing so, you can help to prevent accidents and ensure the well-being of individuals and the integrity of electrical systems. Remember that electrical safety is a shared responsibility, and everyone has a role to play in creating a safe working environment. The NESC is a valuable resource for electrical professionals and anyone involved in the design, installation, or maintenance of electrical systems. By understanding and applying the NESC requirements, you can help to ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. In summary, the horizontal clearances for metal signs near high-voltage conductors are determined by the size of the sign and the voltage of the conductors. The NESC specifies minimum clearance distances to ensure safety and prevent electrical hazards. Always consult the latest edition of the NESC and work with qualified professionals to ensure compliance and safety. Remember that electrical safety is a top priority, and adhering to established codes and practices is essential for preventing accidents and ensuring the well-being of individuals and the integrity of electrical systems.